This is the Marvel Legends Retro Kraven the Hunter figure, and it's the most disappointing Spidey figure I've ever bought. In this video, I'll be hunting through the highs and lows of what could have been an excellent figure for fans of the 90s animated series, and even answering some of your questions about him. Let's talk about it. So the Marvel Legends Retro Spider-Man line is still going strong, and the latest addition to the lineup is one of Spidey's deadliest foes, Kraven the Hunter. Now, I guess it's safe to say that 2023 will be the year of Kraven because this dude is everywhere. He's one of the antagonists of PlayStation's Spider-Man 2, he has a movie dropping this fall, and we've got this brand new figure too. I've wanted a Kraven figure on the retro card for quite some time, so you can bet your bottom dollar I was all over this reveal. Not only would I finally get a Kraven for my Spidey collection, but I'd also be getting one in the style of the 90s animated series, which I also love. Due to all my joy, I just knew I'd love this thing. If only my spider senses were tingling, because they would have warned me my experience would be the complete opposite. Kicking things off, we have the box art, which is one of the things Hasbro will never disappoint me with this line. There's that sweet retro card paying homage to the good old days of Toy Biz. It replicates the Spider-Man logo, Purple City backdrop, and plastic window to show off the figure. Harry Moore has also returned to remake the character, which looks fantastic. As I've said time and time again, Harry does a magnificent job of recreating the artwork from the Toy Biz days, and even for characters that weren't originally on that line, he still does a great job of recreating characters in that art style. On the flip side of the packaging, we get the usual character sketch that we see on all retro cards, but this time for Kraven, plus the same artwork that we saw on the front of the box for the character, and a quick summary for the character which says, with serum-powered strength and honed senses that drove him mad, Kraven the Hunter is neither Spider-Man's friend nor foe, but the web slinger might be his only shot at a cure. As I've stated in many of my retro Spider-Man reviews, I love these boxes and I just can't get enough of them. But of course, you and I didn't come here to talk about lovely boxes, so let's slice this thing open and look at the figure. With Kraven out of the box, we can see all of the details from top to bottom sporting the 90s animated series look, or at least part of it. This Kraven figure may also be familiar to collectors because it reuses the body from Kraven's Last Hunt 2-pack. That figure looks good, and honestly, I wish I had that one instead. Starting with the head sculpt, we have this angry expression, which is nicely detailed. Outside of the fact that he looks constipated, both the digital printing and sculpted work turned out great. As good as it may be, this brings me to my first problem with this figure. It doesn't fit Kraven's goofy or more friendly look in the show. I would have preferred that look of the face, and I'm sad that we're stuck with this one. In my eyes, I don't see why Hasbro couldn't commit to the fully animated style because we've seen two animated figures on the retro card, Spider-Man and Venom. Hasbro also has the spin-off VHS line that brings the animated series to life in 1/12 scale, so why'd they opt to do this?
The world may never know.
Working our way down to the body, we have Kraven's lion vest in those animated series colors. I love the sculpt of the lion's mane, and the colors look vivid. His paint job would have been perfect if it weren't for the unfinished look at the back. It's also missing the string that should be near the bottom of the vest as well. Underneath the vest, there is a chiseled body giving off some of that Giga Chad energy. Both arms have some muscle definition, with this one having a vein, and the other having the signature leopard armband on his bicep. He also has the zebra printed wristbands on both of his arms, which we saw him wear in the show. Sadly, this figure doesn't have pinless elbows, which is problem number 2 for me. It's 2023, and we've been seeing more pinless joints with Legends, so I don't get why they didn't give Kraven that treatment here. It's just one of the joint choices that leaves me disappointed. What won't leave you disappointed is subscribing to the channel, so if you're enjoying this video, please consider joining us here on The Geek Effect. Kraven's belt is on par with the look from the show, but the strap has some extra details which weren't on the belt. This isn't something I'm going to complain about too much because at the end of the day, more detail is technically a good thing, but in the show they were smooth, so if that was the case here, I wouldn't complain about it whatsoever. For the rest of the figure, Kraven's sporting his black tights and a pair of reddish-brown boots with zebra printed cuffs. I almost didn't complain about anything when it came to the bottom half of his outfit, but when comparing it to the cartoon, an important detail is missing from the pants.
Hands 34 to 46.
Where the heck is Kraven's leopard printed underwear? The Toy Biz figure had that, and the same for the artwork. It feels like Hasbro cheaped out on things that could have made this figure awesome. I'm positive this was an intentional choice too, because not even Harry's artwork has the printed underwear on them. To put things simply, there's some things this figure does right, but there's a lot that it just does wrong. It's like they said, hey, let's go animated series look, but then also comic book, and then mush that together, and it just doesn't look right in my eyes. Unfortunately, my disappointment was only beginning. Now, I love having accessories to go with my figures. They're the one thing I think definitely enhances the experience when collecting. When it comes to my experience with Kraven's accessories, I'd say there were definitely some missed opportunities. He comes with a spear, and that's it. There's no extra head sculpt, no extra hands, or knives, or any other sort of weapon. I mean, this is also an exclusive figure, so not only do I expect them to go all in on the details, but also give us a solid package of accessories. The spear he does come with is the same mold from the Last Hunt 2-pack though, with updated colors for the wooden pole and feathers. I do love how the textures look for the wood grain and the feathers. Those intricate details are well made. You could call his vest an accessory because you can take it off and have a topless Kraven, but not even I would go that far because this is basically what the figure is supposed to come with. The accessories are just additional things that we have included. They could have given this guy fist, the club he used in the show, or even a secondary head that looks like the animated version or is relaxed so that he doesn't constantly look like he has to poop. I'm not expecting Hasbro to release another Kraven anytime soon, so that's why it would have been nice to see some additional things with this figure. Now, Kraven's articulation isn't awful, but the way I see it, things could have been better. Starting with the head's articulation, it can turn left and right and tilt side to side. Well, almost. I feel that Kraven's tilt side to side could definitely be better, perhaps by using the dumbbell joint that we see on a lot of MCU Legends figs. However, the range going back and forth is good. It allows him to look up and down in his pecs. As for his arms, they can raise this high, giving him a T-pose position, and they rotate at the shoulders too. We also get bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and wrist with swivel and tilt. Kraven's torso has a single joint for the abdomen that tilts back and forth, but I do wish the crunch going forward were better. Another thing I wish they gave him was a diaphragm cut to let him tilt at the side some and twist at his chest. As for the other half of the figure, there's a waist swivel and some good range in the legs. Both of his legs lift up much higher than I expected, they kick out at the sides and swivel at the thighs. Finishing it up, we have double jointed knees, boot swivel, and ankles that rock to the side and tilt back and forth. As I said, Kraven's articulation isn't the worst, but there's certainly room for improvement. At times when I was posing my Kraven figure, he felt kind of limited, but I managed to get a few good ones in the end. Despite all my disappointment, I'd say still having a good time posing makes him worthy of a few points. Our first question comes from _Freds_, who asks, how does he compare to the retro animated series Spider-Man? When I have the two figures side by side, they do look good when it comes to the details and the vivid colors, but there is a noticeable height difference, and when you look at screenshots from the show, you will notice that Spidey and Kraven are pretty much the exact same height. I'm now seeing why some people said that this body was too short for Spidey and he should have been under a New Year Vows body. Next up, MalvinCoat_862 asks, are the accessories enough or does it need more? As I said before, it definitely could make use of some more accessories. If you gave him, again, a club or extra fist or maybe some hands with arched fingers from when he's crouching or something, anything like that would have enhanced the experience with this figure and definitely something that it would benefit from. LDog24 asks, how good is the ab crunch? In my opinion, Kraven's ab crunch could be improved for sure. If they had given him crunch at the waist perhaps and then a diaphragm cut, I think the articulation and having him lean forward would look much better. Sway Figs wants to know how he scales with other figures. Now this Kraven figure is a little over 6 inches tall, but he does scale nicely with other figures from the retro card line. First up, we have my favorite of the group, animated series Spider-Man. Like I said before, if he was a bit taller, then he would be perfect in scale when it comes to Kraven's height. Next up, we have the animated series Venom, which is a bit taller than Kraven, and I guess this makes sense because Venom is a very beefy and tall character, and I think that this scale matches up nicely when it comes to Kraven. The next figure I have is perfect for Kraven because it matches the Kraven's Last Hunt storyline, and that is the retro symbiote Spider-Man. I still love this figure to date, and I think he looks absolutely stunning next to Kraven. The same thing goes for our next figure here, which is the classic red and blue suit from wave 1 of the retro line. I love how both these figures look side by side one another, and this definitely could have been another candidate for the animated series Spider-Man figure in terms of height. And since Kraven is all about hunting his prey, I wanted to include a creature character, and so I have the retro card Lizard, which looks absolutely phenomenal next to Kraven. This is also very fitting too because in the Spider-Man 2 gameplay footage, we saw that Kraven and his other mercenaries are on the hunt for Kurt Connors, which is also the Lizard. I was looking forward to this Kraven figure, and after waiting months for it to arrive, It just sucks that I don't love it as much as I expected. Don't get me wrong, there are some good things about him, but it feels like that experience was tainted due to the several aspects I brought up. The missing details, lack of accessories, and overall inaccuracy of the animated style make it hard to recommend this figure to fans of the show. I will admit that he doesn't look bad alongside other characters from the retro line, but knowing the potential he had makes things bittersweet for me. Hasbro had the perfect opportunity to give us a proper animated series Kraven, but chose to make this instead. As disappointing as this Kraven may be, I must remember that not all figures will be perfect. The purpose of this video wasn't to bash this figure. There will be many ups and downs when collecting, and the only way to help change that is for us collectors to share our feedback and hope for the best. Of course, all thoughts in this review are my opinion, so I want to hear your thoughts about this figure, whether you own it or not. As always, I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on more action figure goodness. If you want to see a much better Marvel Legends retro card Spidey figure, then watch this video. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.